Okay, so for this week, I got my basic move to for what our boss is going to be. I'm going to need to augment this heavily, but this was a lot of logic just to get it to start moving and be able to get the base structure down. So bear with me as I go over this because it's going to be a little weird. Alright, so we have our base character in, and we're going to eventually need to fly and be able to shoot, which will come in a bit. But the main thing is I have it so that once you get within our structure, you get within his range, he starts moving towards you consistently. We're gonna have to lower the speed and do a bunch of stuff, but this was all testing purpose. And you can get it to a point where you can go behind an object, and he'll move towards the location where you've last been. And then if he doesn't see you, he'll nav mesh around an area until he goes back to his origin point. This is set up by using a Blackboard AI tree, which to get this little bit of code to work, from what you see here, is actually quite a lot because we have to first make an aggro check that says, hey, we need to find the target's location and also uh, the the pawn's location. Then we also have to get the location of its set spawn plus its home location and the last known location of the player, which we do through a raycast, targeting everything together. So when we go and look into its aggro check, we're looking through for finding our event receive tick of something being in its area off of configuring our brain to look for the specific actor to do a multi-sphere trace for objects, and then within that loop, it'll loop to look for where it'll hit an actor, and if it does, it'll set its new uh, location for its vector 3 to be able to move towards, and we set that into our vector value on our Blackboard AI tree. And that is always updating where my location is if it can see me with its raycast. And we can take a look at that by selecting our enemy here, and we see this big circle that's set up. And now these are two separate areas because one of these is set up as this is its maximum here distance, and then the blue circle is its basically what its sight distance is. The outside does nothing at this point, but the inside is a definitive that will always move towards that, and that's all we're looking at right now. The yellow is our sound, which we're going to end up using as a way to keep the AI constantly following so it doesn't go back into its home set position, but we have that there just in case something breaks and it needs to reset before it continues again. And then in this, we're going to set up a condition where it's, hey, when you see stuff and you're doing your rapid move to, then start doing other actions that go along the lines of our attack array that we're going to set up at some point that allows us, with our emitters that we'll set up on the character, to set up projectiles that will destroy the player on contact, which we have the base structure right here for our first person projectile. We're going to have to set up one for the player and get all the physics set up, but that's when we do health. And we already have the base stuff set up on our character for health and collision and everything, so that's all there. Basically, this was just getting everything together so that we could get the main commands so that I can then start augmenting off of this. Other than that, this was our main testing that we set up, which I also had to set up nav mesh capabilities, so that's what this green is. And I'm going to have to set his movement systems for how he's supposed to move, and then I need to link his animations, which there's a huge animation pack for him, so I just need to get that to work correctly, because it's just a little bit stiff at the moment for what it does. And I need to set up in the exact way that they originally set up this character, which I'm not sure of, so I gotta do some research there. Other than that, along with this, I have started working into figuring out what AI is going to need to do and what it's going to need to project information-wise to the player, along with how it does its physics. So I'm working towards that. I have half of the structure already done. And then again, that all goes back through here through pawn sensing and its arrow component and the mesh that we have over here. So it's getting done, and I'll have more next week.